The neuroscience of limiting beliefs. That is our topic today. You don't outgrow a limiting belief, you outwire it. See, most people think beliefs are just ideas, something you picked up along the way, maybe from childhood, maybe from failure. But beliefs aren't stored in a notebook, they're stored in your nervous system, wired in by emotion, reinforced by repetition, and most importantly, protected by your brain's survival instinct. A limiting belief isn't just a thought you've had too many times. It's a protective loop, something your brain holds on to because it thinks letting go might get you hurt. Let me give you an example. If you believed as a child that your voice didn't matter, maybe because you were constantly interrupted, dismissed, or punished for speaking up, your brain didn't just log that as a passing thought. It formed a pattern that says, when I express myself, I get punished. When I stay quiet, I stay safe. Now you're an adult. You're told to speak up, self-promote, negotiate your salary. But every time you try, something clamps down, your throat tightens, your mind blanks, and you tell yourself you're just not confident. But confidence isn't the problem. Your nervous system is still running the pattern. Because your brain doesn't care what's rational. It cares what's familiar. And familiar equals safe, even if it's keeping you small. Here's what most people don't realize. Beliefs don't live in your thoughts. They live in your body. They're stored in your muscle memory, in your voice, in your breath, in your automatic responses. And the more a belief is tied to survival, emotional, social, or physical, the more fiercely your brain will defend it. Let's repeat this. The more a belief is tied to survival, emotional, social, or physical, the more fiercely your brain will defend it. That's why mindset work often fails. You can repeat all the affirmations you want, but if your body still flinches at the idea of change, your brain will override you every time. Before we keep going, tap like if this is landing for you. Also hit the subscribe button. It helps more people find these deeper videos, and it tells the algorithm this is worth showing. Now here's the most important part. Limiting beliefs aren't flaws, they're adaptations. They're the brain's best guess at how to protect you based on what it learned in the past. But here's the good news. If your brain can wire a belief, it can rewire one too. And that's where we're headed next. How to identify limiting beliefs, not by logic, but by pattern recognition. Because once you know how your brain installs these beliefs, you can start to interrupt the loop and build new ones that actually serve you. Most people try to fix their beliefs with logic. They say things like, I know I'm good enough, I know I'm capable, I know I deserve better. But the body doesn't respond to logic, it responds to pattern. And that's the key to understanding limiting beliefs. They're not about what you know, they're about what your nervous system has practiced for years. Again, they're about what your nervous system has practiced for years. Let me say it another way. You don't act from what you believe is true. You act from what your system has rehearsed as true. That's why someone can be smart, self-aware, even successful on paper and still sabotage themselves, because their internal wiring hasn't caught up with their current reality. So how do you actually identify a limiting belief? Not by asking yourself what you think. Ask yourself what your reactions say. Look at the moments where you shrink, deflect, stay silent, play small, or numb out. When someone compliments your work and you instantly feel like a fraud, that's a limiting belief in action. When you undercharge, even though you know your value, that's not about pricing. That's your internal ceiling firing up to keep you in a known zone. A zone your brain decided was safe a long time ago. And the brain doesn't just want to keep you safe. It wants to keep you consistent. This is called prediction-based wiring. Your brain uses past experiences to predict future outcomes. Then it filters your current choices through that lens. If the pattern says, every time I try something new I fail, then even a small risk like a job interview, a date, a post online will trigger anxiety, not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to protect you from an outcome it has already rehearsed. So when you feel resistance, hesitation, or fear around something that logically shouldn't scare you, that's a sign the belief is living deeper than thought. And that's exactly why belief rewiring must involve the body. Because if the nervous system isn't involved, the change won't stick.
Your brain doesn't ask, is this belief helpful? It asks, is this belief familiar? And that one question decides everything.
When a belief gets rehearsed often enough, especially under stress, it becomes a default filter. A lens that colors every situation before you even consciously process it. Let's say you grew up around unpredictability. Sometimes love was there, sometimes it wasn't. Your brain started to wire a belief like, stability isn't real. I have to earn connection. Now, even in safe relationships, your system feels unsettled. Not because the situation is unsafe, but because it doesn't match the pattern. And when something doesn't match the pattern, the brain flags it as unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels risky. This is how we unconsciously recreate struggle. Not because we want it, but because we're neurologically primed for it. The technical term here is predictive coding. Your brain builds a model of how the world works and constantly compares real-time input to that model. When something aligns with the model, like rejection, disappointment, or being overlooked, the brain nods in agreement. It says, see, we were right. That prediction gets reinforced. The wiring deepens. But when something contradicts the belief, like praise, support, or opportunity, the brain may reject it, not out of stubbornness, but out of confusion. Because if you've believed you're not good enough for 10 years, and someone offers you a chance to level up, your system might interpret that as a threat. It's why self-sabotage happens after wins, why people ghost themselves after progress. It's not a mindset issue. It's a mismatch between internal prediction and external reality. And here's where change begins. You have to create new evidence slowly, consistently, and with emotional safety. Not just intellectual proof. Your brain needs sensory experiences that contradict the old wiring. Things like accepting praise without deflecting, speaking up even when your voice shakes, letting a good moment last without waiting for the crash. These aren't surface habits, they're emotional challenges to the belief system itself. And every time you let a new experience land, without numbing, dismissing, or rushing past it, you're giving your brain a reason to update the model. Not overnight, but over time. Because your brain doesn't rewire with big ideas, it rewires with small signals of safety repeated often. Here's the truth most people miss. A belief isn't replaced through willpower. It's replaced through experience. Specifically, repeated experiences that feel safe enough for the nervous system to update its expectations. That's why deep change often feels slow. It's not because you're lazy or stuck. It's because your body is asking, can I trust this new pattern to be real? And until the answer is yes, until you have enough proof, not just in your mind but in your breath, your posture, your pace, your brain will default to the old prediction. So how do you lock in a new belief? You build a safety container around the version of you you're becoming. That means surrounding the new belief with actions that are consistent, environments that don't contradict it, people who reflect it back without doubting you, and routines that stabilize it, even on your bad days. Because if the new belief lives in chaos, your brain won't trust it. But if it's surrounded by evidence, even small, quiet proof, your nervous system starts to soften. And that's when things change. When you stop reacting like you used to. When you don't flinch at success. When you don't retreat after being seen. That's not performance. That's rewiring. So if you've been carrying a belief like I'm not capable or I don't belong, don't just try to flip the script. Show your brain over and over that safety exists in the new version. And remember, you're not fighting the old belief, you're replacing the conditions that kept it alive. That's what rewiring actually is. Not thought replacement, but identity reconstruction grounded in nervous system safety. So don't just aim for new thoughts, aim for new patterns of experience, new cues of stability, new rhythms of behavior that your brain can start to trust. Because once it trusts the new belief, it lets go of the old one. Not out of force, but because it no longer serves your survival model. And that's when the change becomes permanent. If this gave you something to think about, like the video so more people see it, and if you want more real, smart, no-fluff videos like this, hit subscribe. The content on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute medical, financial, legal, business, or lifestyle advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making changes to your health, finances, legal situation, or personal routines. Do your own research before making any decisions related to identity, mental health, or behavior change. All views expressed are based on publicly available research at the time of publication and may evolve as new insights emerge.